Welcome to the Safety Pro Podcast, where we help you manage workplace safety one episode at a time. And now, your very own Safety Pro, Blaine J. Hoffman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Safety Pro Podcast. I am Blaine Hoffman. I want to give you a quick episode this time around. This is going to be a little shorter than most, but it's going to set up a couple of things that are coming down the road, okay? As you know, I've been kind of laying this foundation with the first couple of episodes and laying this groundwork so that we can talk about more advanced safety and health topics down the road. Now, this is going to be one of those things where I have to kind of just get out of the way, and it didn't really fit in with any of the other episode topics. It really deserved its own little episode, okay? This is leadership commitment in the safety and health management system. So I really want to focus on the safety health management system aspect first, define that, and kind of start the conversation about, how leadership supports and is committed to safety and health in the organization. Have you ever heard the recommendation to conduct periodic reviews of the safety and health management system? And have you ever wondered, what does that really mean? What do they mean by the term system? Do they mean just review my safety manual, my safety program? What do they mean? What's it mean by a system? Well, I want to take some time to talk about what is involved in a comprehensive safety and health management system review. Okay? You may have heard this phrase and wondered what exactly it means, so let's go ahead and break it down. Basically, the safety and health management system starts, at least initially, with a review of all facilities, machines, chemicals, tasks, etc. to determine the hazards. So if you've listened to the previous couple of episodes, I've talked about how to go about conducting such an assessment in preparation for writing your safety manuals, which will become a part of this overall management system. So that assessment kicks off a cycle, okay? The safety and health management system cycle involves an initial planning process, conducting the hazard assessments and creating policies and procedures, and then the implementation of those systems, which are a combination of policies, procedures, training that needs to be conducted, and then followed by a process for checking the performance of those activities, and then taking appropriate corrective actions if any gaps are identified. And by gaps, we mean the differential between what is and what should be, as stated by those policies and procedures and any other hazard abatements that were put into place. And this cycle continues. So the next step involves a management review of the system to make sure that it is suitable, adequate, and effective. In other words, are the policies, procedures, and their communication to the employees, their availability to the employees, and how often they are verified in the workplace through audits and so on, is that appropriate? Are those appropriate given the size and scope of the business? So the complete cycle is repeated over and over, usually on an annual basis, which results in this ongoing continual improvement of the occupational safety and health systems in the organization. Now, improvements result from reducing hazards and risks in a systematic manner, a goal that is usually pursued through independent or standalone programs that often are not coordinated through common management principles and processes or shared across the business. Usually, what folks do is attack things by themselves and are very reactionary. So when something occurs, we then just fix that thing that occurred and then move on. What we want to move to is more of a systemic look at our organization. Now, the management system approach is characterized by its emphasis on continual improvement and systematically eliminating the underlying or root causes of deficiencies. For example, in a systems approach, if an inspection finds that there's an unguarded machine, not only would the unguarded machine be fixed, there would also be a process in place to discover and eliminate the underlying reason for the deficiency in the first place. Now, this might then lead to the goal of replacing the guards with a more efficient design, or to modify all the machines in the facility themselves so as to eliminate the hazard. So, in a nutshell, the systemic or systematic approach seeks a long-term solution rather than a one-time isolated fix. I've gone through facilities where I'll stand at a machine with an operator and he's got a proximity mat that he stands on, and I look at the machine next to his, which is identical, and there isn't one there. This is a true story. This happened. I asked the operator, hey, how come you have a proximity mat that when you step off, the machine shuts down because it senses you're going and, stepping away from the controls, but that machine over there doesn't have one? And this operator literally looked at me and said, because that operator hasn't been cut yet. So it was a very reactionary fix to something that happened to that operator. Instead of saying, oh, wow, if it happened to this operator, it could probably happen to any of them because they all do the same thing. And when we put the fix in at this machine, we should probably have a plan in place to retrofit all the machines. That was an example of sort of a one-time or isolated or reactionary stance that company had. So a comprehensive safety and health management system can be defined as a set of interrelated elements that establish or support occupational health and safety, its policies and objectives and mechanisms. And they achieve those objectives in order to continually improve occupational health and safety. The only way this can happen is if top-level leadership sponsors the effort. Leadership begins with top management providing the directive for integrating health and safety into all the daily functions of the business. Notice I said all of the daily functions of the business. The organization's top management has to establish a documented occupational safety and health policy as the foundation for this system. This policy shall include a commitment in a minimum of these 4 areas. 1, protection and continual improvement for employee health and safety. 2, effective employee participation. 3, conformance with the organization's health and safety requirements by all levels of the company. And 4, compliance with applicable laws and regulations. These 4 elements are essential for an effective policy and should be expressed in a manner that best reflects the organization's culture and safety values. The policies are expected to contain a commitment to compliance with applicable health and safety regulations. That was number 4. But it is understood that even the most effective occupational safety and health management system can't ensure an organization is in total compliance 100% of the time. So under those circumstances where you find we're out of compliance, that's okay as long as the safety and health management system, as it's implemented, results in the prompt detection and correction of those deficiencies and what contributed to the non-compliance to begin with. That is what you're after, okay? It isn't realistic to say that we're going to be 100% compliant 100% of the time. There's going to be times where situations are created, especially in a dynamic workplace, where you may find something got left out or there may be a housekeeping issue, but it's okay that occasionally you will find things that are out of compliance. But that's the point. You have to have a process in place to identify the deficiencies and then conduct your root cause analysis to not just fix what you found, but prevent it from occurring again. That is key. As for roles and responsibilities for safety and health, top management should not simply delegate implementation of the safety and health management system to other members of management. Visible leadership by management sets the tone for the entire organization, which is much more effective than if it was simply driven by, a safety manager. Top management involvement and commitment can be measured by inclusion of the safety and health management system as an element of the organization's business plan. Either the time spent on safety and health, visible personal participation by those top managers, and even the number of safety and health management tasks that they're performing. Now, an example of integrating safety and health with other aspects or areas of the business is with human resources. HR and safety might share some annual statistics with each other to determine how company managers may have performed relative to last year's business objectives, safety and health objectives, for example, and to even set appropriate safety and health objectives for the following year. So an annual performance evaluation that is usually done under the HR umbrella will need to get with safety and get some data on how managers were performing. Another good tip is, I know an organization that when the upper managers, even department heads, have their annual performance evaluation, they have it, in their job description, they're required to go on at least one a month, a safety walkthrough of their department with the safety lead. The safety lead submits the reports to HR as to whether or not that department head conducted that safety audit with them. So they're measured on whether or not they did that. Also, they're measured in their performance eval as to whether or not all of their employees got their annual refresher training for safety done on time before the month that they were needed to be done. So that's a way that you can integrate safety into how you're doing your performance evaluations on managers. So really, leadership by top management also has to include communicating not only what needs to be done, but why it should be done. Why are we looking at safety tasks being performed by managers in their annual performance evaluation? This is where we can address the why of safety for the personnel. That can contribute to a better acceptance and implementation of the safety and health management system. Now, this can be tricky though, okay? Workers are going to know if management is simply reciting, aspirational values that they don't currently hold, and then that could have the opposite effect. You'll get the eyes rolling and say, what's he going to say? I'm not for safety. The message about safety has to fit, has to be natural, and there is no boilerplate you can use for this. It literally has to be an internally adopted value system that they process, top management processes, and then can externally express in natural terms that the employees will understand. Okay, it has to be genuine. So there you go in a nutshell. This episode, I told you it was going to be a short one. This episode really was a primer to get us to the next topic, which is meaningful employee involvement. I wanted to kind of get out of the way a couple of high-level definitions of, what do we mean by a safety and health management system? What does it mean when we want to review that system? And what it is for leadership to be committed to safety and health. And then one of the biggest ways management and top leadership can show commitment to safety and health is by providing ways for employees to be meaningfully involved in the safety and health management process. That's going to be the next episode. I will focus only on ways to engage and involve employees in that process. Now, in the meantime, go to www.consulthoffman.com, click on the Safety Pro Podcast page to participate in the conversation about this topic. I look forward to reading your comments there. And until the next episode, as always, be safe.
Thanks for listening to the Safety Pro Podcast. Be sure to visit www.consulthoffman.com for articles and information about safety services. To have Blaine read your question on the show, email him at customerservice@consulthoffman.com. Be sure to have 2 F's and 2 N's on Hoffman. Until next time, be safe.